Matthew from Patchwerks here with Nick from Patchwerks, who's going to show us how to multi-sample on the Bitbox Micro.
Thank you, Matt. So in this setup right here, we have the Bitbox Micro that's being driven by the Launchpad Pro Mark III. You can see it triggering the samples via MIDI. We are allowed to use a TRS cable and plug directly in because they're the same type, which is very nice. We have the individual outs going through this mixer, and that's going out. So when I hit play, you can hear the beat. It's a nice, simple beat. And what I want to do today is add a bass line to it. We'll use a very cool feature on the Bitbox Micro to multi-sample a bass line or the bass sounds from the DFAM. When I hit trigger, it's pretty low, but the multi-sampler in the Bitbox will automatically sample at every single pitch for as big of a range as you want. So when I actually do sample it, I'll get it into a nice audible range. The theory behind multi-sampling is that when we sample, if we just have one sample and pitch it up and down, it starts to sound thinner and loses its fidelity because we're just stretching that sample back and forth. With multi-sampling, we're actually taking samples of every single note, or we could actually skip a few notes if we want, but in this example, I'll sample every note. So every note that comes through sounds clean, as if we actually have a polyphonic DFAM, and that's a very cool thing. So to set that up, I'll actually go into an empty spot here on my Bitbox. I'll hit right, and now I already set it up to record a new sample. Right now it's set up, it says 1x up here, and when I click this, I could say multi, and that sets up for multi-sampling. With multi-sampling, you can sample a MIDI device, but what's really cool is that you can actually multi-sample Eurorack devices, because out of out 1 and 2, we send CV and gate. So you can see that I have my out 1 running into my volt per octave on my DFAM, and I have my out 2 running into the trigger of the DFAM. When I scroll, I have my record input set to 1, so I have my VCA out going into 1. My gain is fine. When I hit trigger, we could actually monitor it. We're hitting -4. That's fine by me. File name, we'll stick with the original file name. This is where, right here, you can see start note and end note. C2 is a good start note for this example, and we'll only do 2 octaves. So from C2 to C4, we'll multi-sample. We'll sample every one. This is where I said you could skip, but we'll sample every single one. We can do different velocities if we want to. We could ignore the MIDI stuff because we're not doing MIDI. And we can define other parameters like how long we are actually recording the notes and what the release is. We don't have to set a recording threshold. As soon as I hit record, it'll automatically do it for us. And we'll fast forward through this part. But once I hit record, it'll start going. There it goes. Look, it'll say recording sample 1 of 25, and it's just going up those notes. Sweet, and just like that, we have a multi-sampled DFAM bass line. The only other setup we need to do is actually arm this particular channel to a MIDI channel that the Novation Launchpad Pro will send out. Otherwise, we'll just be triggering the same note. So when we hit right to get more details, we can scroll down to our MIDI in, and I'll set it to channel 3. And over on my Launchpad, I'll switch over to channel 3. So here we are on channel 3, and as soon as I hit this, we actually hear our multi-sampled bass line. And you can hear how clean that is. It has the fidelity of the DFAM playing every single note. And the Launchpad does do some quantization and some scale modes, so we're actually playing in a minor scale. But it sounds so nice and crisp versus if we just took one sample and pitched it up and down, we would have some artifacts which could be desirable for certain types of music, but for clarity's sake, we're good. So what I'm going to do now is actually play the beat and record a new bass line. So here we go. Let it go one time through. Cool. Now imagine for a second that we actually wanted to play multiple notes at once. We could actually change the mode up here from mono to poly. And when I do that, well, we can play more than one note at a time. We can play chords. Sweet. So thanks to that, I'll actually play us out, do a little jam. We'll get that bass line going. We'll take that, run it through the monsoon, and we're really treating this sampler like the essential part of this, where we have our drums, we have our synthesizers, and then we're able to use the individual outs to route it through different ways. So thanks for watching, and enjoy this jam.